So this is you. You have decided that today is the day your life becomes suspiciously well organized. You have the water bottle. You have the notes app. You have gym shoes by the door like tiny motivational witnesses. You have even made a plan, which is always dangerous because a plan makes you feel like you already did something. Very serious, very adult. Then the moment comes to actually start. And suddenly your brain decides the most important task on earth is watching a video about a man restoring a rusty toaster. Not a famous toaster, not your toaster. A toaster that looks like it survived a small war and now needs emotional support. 40 minutes later, the toaster is shining, the man is proud, and your own life is still sitting there with a loading symbol over it. From the outside, this looks like laziness. But laziness is a terrible explanation. It is just what the security camera would say. The inside story is weirder. Your brain can genuinely want the future result and still treat the first step like it is trying to charge a cover fee. That is what this video is about. Not how to become a productivity wizard. Not wake up at 4 a.m. and fight a mountain. This is why you can want to change, mean it, picture it, complain about it, buy a little notebook for it, and still do absolutely nothing when the moment arrives. And yes, the notebook knows what happened. Open the machine. You are lying on the couch making a deal with tomorrow you. Tomorrow you is amazing. Tomorrow you wakes up early, drinks water, stretches, answers emails, cooks actual food, and probably files taxes just for the vibe. Today, you is holding a phone sideways and eating cereal from a mug because the bowls are too far away. These two people should not be allowed to sign contracts together. But every night, they do. Today, you says, tomorrow, we change everything. Tomorrow, you is not in the room to object. So the promise feels free. That is one reason wanting change is not the same as starting change. Researchers studying procrastination have found that people can have real intentions and still fail at the bridge between intention and action. The problem is not always that you do not care. Sometimes you care from a distance. At 11:48 p.m., the future is basically a movie trailer. There is music, there is lighting, there is a version of you walking in slow motion with a salad. But the actual first step happens tomorrow in normal lighting, with a cold floor, a low battery, and your brain asking why the shoes are making demands. The future gets the dream. The present gets the invoice. And the present is very interested in not paying it. Then you sit down to start a project. The document is open. The cursor blinks. The cursor blinks again. It has now become personal. You type one word, delete it, type the same word again, and then decide the real problem is that your desk is emotionally wrong. So now you are cleaning, not normal cleaning. Suddenly, you are reorganizing cables from a laptop you owned in 2016. You find a mystery key. You do not know what it opens, but for 9 minutes, this becomes a high-priority investigation. The project waits patiently in the background like a disappointed teacher. This is where procrastination gets rude because it can make you feel better. Not better forever. Not better in a way that solves anything. Better right now. Psychologists Siroa and Cycle have described procrastination as being closely tied to short-term mood repair. In plain English, the task feels bad, you avoid it, and your mood improves for a moment. The task might feel boring, uncertain, embarrassing, too big, too late, or too connected to your identity. So your brain gives you relief by moving you away from it. That relief is not proof the decision was smart. It is just proof the brain likes relief. If touching the project feels like putting your hand on a hot stove, then organizing old charger cables feels like a spa day. The problem is that the stove is still there. You did not eliminate the task. You shipped it to future you with worse packaging. Future you opens the box and finds the same project, now angrier with fewer hours attached. Future you should be allowed to leave a review. Or you decide to exercise. This is not a vague decision. The shoes are out. The water bottle is filled. There is even a playlist called something embarrassing like New Era. But then your brain runs the numbers. The reward is better health later. Very noble, very distant. The cost is stand up now, put on shoes, go outside, be perceived by neighbors, and move your body until it files a complaint. Suddenly, the math is ugly. This is the effort problem. Motivation is not just a tiny cheerleader in your skull yelling, "You can do it." It is partly an effort and reward calculation. Research on effort-based decision-making looks at how brains weigh high-effort, high-reward choices against easier, lower-reward choices. Dopamine is involved in this system, but it is not a magic motivation smoothie. Please do not let the internet sell you a dopamine detox like it is a haunted juice cleanse. Simpler than that. Your brain prices effort. Get fit sounds beautiful. Put on shoes and be bad at jogging in public is a bill. Build a better life sounds inspiring. Open the spreadsheet and see the damage is a small financial horror movie. Learn a language sounds cultured. Be corrected by an owl-shaped app for saying bread wrong is a personal attack. So when you feel lazy, sometimes what you are feeling is not the absence of desire. It is the presence of cost. The first step is standing there with a clipboard, and your brain is pretending not to be home. Then there is the one responsible thing. Just one. Maybe book an appointment. Maybe reply to a message. Maybe cancel a subscription that has been quietly stealing money like a tiny, polite burglar. But your phone is nearby. The phone does not ask for a 5-year plan. The phone does not ask you to become a better person. The phone does not say, "Before we begin, please confront your entire self-image." It just glows. That is an evil business model, but you have to respect the efficiency. Nearby rewards can beat distant rewards because they arrive with better timing. A future goal is far away and abstract. The phone is right there, offering tiny rewards with no setup fee. Temporal motivation theory includes ideas like delay, expectancy, value, and impulsiveness. You do not need the textbook to feel the problem. The reward for change is tomorrow, wearing a nice jacket. The reward for scrolling is now in your hand, already warmed up. So the phone wins, not because it matters more, because it arrived first. Your future self is sending a formal complaint from across time. The phone is already in the meeting. Then you make the plan too big. This is a classic move. You do not say, "I will walk for 5 minutes." No, you say, "I am becoming a disciplined person." That is not a first step. That is a costume change. You do not say, "I will wash 1 plate." You say, "I am fixing my environment." Now the spoon in the sink has become part of a personal transformation documentary. You do not say, "I will write 1 bad sentence." You say, "I am finally starting my creative career." Congratulations. The blank page now weighs 400 pounds. This is why vague self-improvement plans are so fragile. Be more disciplined sounds strong, but it gives the actual moment no instructions. Where? When? After what? For how long? What counts as starting? What happens if you feel weird, tired, bored, or mildly offended by the task? If the first step is unclear, your brain has to design the plan while already uncomfortable. That is not a plan. That is an escape room where the clue is shame. Even when you do start, you do a thing once and expect your brain to build a permanent railway. You drink water 2 mornings in a row and start acting like hydration has entered a legally binding partnership. Then, on day 3, you forget. Now, the whole identity collapses. The water bottle sits there like a disappointed submarine. This is where habits matter. A habit is not a motivational speech that finally worked. It is a behavior becoming more automatic in a stable context. When the cue is familiar and the action has been repeated enough, the action needs less negotiation. You probably do not brush your teeth by holding a daily leadership summit. You just do it because the context already carries the behavior. That is the useful part. Habits lower the start price. The famous 66-day habit number gets repeated everywhere, but it is not a universal rule. In the UCL habit study, 66 days was an average. Dr. Pippa Lally later emphasized that people varied a lot. Some habits are tiny ramps. Some are stairs. Some are stairs covered in oil while a phone plays circus music nearby. Do not worship the number. Stop making every action a fresh vote. If the behavior has rails, your brain does not have to hold a courtroom every morning. Sometimes, though, the problem is not a funny little friction problem. Sometimes you are not avoiding the gym because your shoes are dramatic. Sometimes you are sleeping badly, stressed out, depressed, burned out, anxious, in pain, overwhelmed, or dealing with executive dysfunction. From the outside, that can still look like person not starting. But the inside can be completely different. Executive functions help with planning, working memory, flexible thinking, emotional control, and stopping yourself from doing the easier thing. When those systems are strained, a simple task can feel like trying to run a control room where half the buttons have been replaced with crackers. Cleveland Clinic explicitly separates executive dysfunction from laziness or simply not caring. That matters, because shame is terrible engineering. If the real problem is exhaustion, depression, ADHD, untreated sleep issues, pain, or another health factor, yelling "just try harder" at it is like yelling "be a bridge at a river." It is loud. It is not infrastructure. This video cannot diagnose anyone, and it should not try. But if not starting is severe, persistent, or messing with basic life, school, work, hygiene, sleep, safety, or relationships, that is not a YouTube productivity problem. That is a reason to talk to a qualified professional. For ordinary start resistance, make the first step so small it feels almost insulting. Not "change my life." That phrase enters the room wearing a cape and immediately pulls a muscle. Say, "put the shoes by the door." Say, "open the document." Say, "write one ugly sentence." Say, "wash one plate." Say, "set a timer for 2 minutes." 2 minutes will not fix your life. 2 minutes is barely a unit of existence. But 2 minutes can cross the starting line. And the starting line is where your brain was charging the toll. This is also why if-then plans can help. Not because they are magic, because they reduce the number of decisions in the uncomfortable moment. If it is 7:30 after dinner, then I put on shoes and walk to the end of the street. If I open the laptop, then I write the title and one ugly sentence before checking anything else. If I feel the urge to avoid the task, then I set a 5-minute timer and only prepare the workspace. That is not a dramatic transformation. Good. Dramatic transformations are expensive. This is just giving tired you a smaller script. Because tired you should not be trusted to improvise a life plan while a couch is making a very strong argument. So, this is still you. Same couch. Same phone. Same suspiciously clean toaster video waiting somewhere on the internet. But now the frozen moment is less mysterious. You may not be missing desire. You may be losing a hidden contest between mood relief now, effort cost now, reward later, temptation nearby, unclear instructions, and no habit rails yet. From the outside, that looks like doing nothing. Inside, it is a tiny economic disaster in a stick-figure brain. So before you call yourself lazy, ask what the first step is charging. Is it too vague? Is it too big? Is the reward too far away? Is the phone closer than the future? Is your body actually exhausted? Is this normal resistance, or is it something that deserves help? Then make the first move smaller. Not impressive, smaller. Put one rail under the behavior. Lower one toll. Make one ugly first move. Because change usually does not begin with becoming a different person by Monday. It begins when the first step becomes small enough that your brain stops treating it like a suspicious package. And if you still end up watching the toaster video, at least make the toaster proud and do one plate afterward.